All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Your Next Cast. Thank you so much for checking out another episode. You picked a beautiful morning to watch a video. We appreciate you stopping by. If this is your very first time, I hope that you'll drop a comment below and let me know you stopped by. If you're returning, I so appreciate that. If you enjoy this content, I hope you'll consider hitting that like button, which is the thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, I hope you'll do that as well. Well, if you can see where I might be, this might look familiar to some people. I am in Hunting Run Reservoir for the very first time in 2023. This place has been open for about a month now, and this is the first time that I'm getting out. Usually I would have been out here like 2 or 3 times by now, but just with work schedule and other commitments, I just haven't been able to. So this was my birthday gift to me. Today, as you're watching this video, it's my birthday, and I'm hoping that it's gonna be a fantastic trip. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm gonna fish for 4 hours, so we're going right up until 11, or until it gets too hot. It's supposed to get up in the 80s today. I got up into the 80s yesterday. But anyway, it's gonna be a good video. We're gonna talk about some life lessons. We're gonna talk about some things I've learned. We're gonna talk through, the keys to having a successful fishing trip, which also coincide with, great keys to life. And you're gonna hear me talk about that. So even if I don't catch any fish, you're at least going to get some good philosophical advice and hear how I approach this place, since I haven't been here in a really long time. Like, it's been at least 8 or 9 months since I've been here, and the water level is way different than the last time I was here. It's much higher than it was before. Very calm. Sun is just coming up over the trees. Not a ton of boats out. I see some fish popping up. There were about 5 boats in the water when I got here, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4 more coming this way. So it's be a decent amount of traffic on this reservoir today. But anyway, that's what we're looking forward to. So if that excites you, I hope that you'll keep watching. This might be a long video, might be a super short video, who knows? We'll see what happens. But anyway, we've got 6 rods on the boat, 3 bait casting and 3 spinning rods. Usually I don't have that many with me, but I wasn't sure what to expect here today since I haven't been here. So I'm gonna tell you what I'm starting out with. So the first thing I'm throwing is a weightless worm, just because I always typically start up close and then work my way out. Second, I'm throwing a weighted worm. So if that weightless worm is not working for me, I'm gonna go out a little deeper and have a weighted worm. Gonna throw that. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna throw the Kitech. If that doesn't work, I'm going to throw a crankbait. If that doesn't work, I'm going to throw a chatterbait. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna go out and drop shot. Now, if none of those 6 things work, then we'll just have to go into the tackle box and see what else we can throw at them. But hopefully one of those combinations will get us a bite. So here we go. And what I'll try to do, hopefully, is keep you updated every hour. So we're gonna break today up into 4 1-hour quarters, and I'll try to give what I think is some good advice with each fish catch, or with each hour, whichever comes first. But what I'll start with is this: to have a good successful fishing trip, or to have a good successful day in your life, I think it's always great to start out with gratitude. Start out being thankful. And today being my birthday, I'm very, very thankful. I'm even thankful for these geese that just decided to start flying by. God is good in his creation. But having a heart of gratitude matters. All of us has probably been around people that are super grumpy, not happy. Everything is wrong with the world. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that are happening that are unfortunate. But those people. You might be one of those people. Starting the day off with gratitude makes a huge difference. Just being thankful for another day you have, especially if you're out fishing. Thankful that you got off work, or maybe if you're retired and you can fish whenever you want to, that's a huge blessing. But just being thankful, thanking God for his grace, his mercy, the water that he gives us, the atmosphere that fishing brings. All those things are great things to be thankful for. I'm thankful for life today on this 40-something birthday. It's hard to believe I'm 40-some years old. Like, I remember the days when I thought, man, 40-year-old people are old. Like, God, they are old. And now I'm that person. I am old and my bones hurt, and I'm thankful for that. Now I see why older people move to Florida, because when the sun is shining like it's shining on me right now, it warms up my bones and it feels really good. I don't do cold well, which is why you often hear me say I'm a fair weather fisherman. Like, cold and me do not mix very well at all. And I believe in, being comfortable when you fish. Anyway, that's the first lesson. Be thankful, be grateful. So whether we catch fish or not, we're gonna be thankful. Is that a fish? Sorry, I couldn't tell because the sunshine. We're gonna be thankful and we're gonna be grateful for the opportunity to be out here. So if you're not starting your days like that, I hope that you will. Also start it with some meditation. So in just a second, for you, you're gonna cut away to some next part of this trip. But for me, I'm gonna spend time actually meditating, thinking, praying, like doing a lot of those things while I'm just sitting out here fishing. And that's what I usually do when I'm fishing. I usually try to spend the first 15, 20 minutes just doing that, unless I'm catching fish. Now, if I'm catching fish, then, I'm just being thankful for those fish in the moment. But having a time where you just meditate, think, pray, whatever your ritual might be, is also really important. That helps build habits and patterns that help you be more successful. So that's what I'm gonna do. Well, I can tell you this much. It doesn't seem like the worm I'm throwing is doing the trick at all. Not a single bite. We've been throwing for about 15 minutes, so we're about to switch up to the weighted and go out a little bit more. I think it might still be a little too cool. So there's so many factors to consider. What is the temperature? Is it too cool? Should you be on the side where the sun is shining, which I'm trying to do now? The other thing is, this place is so different than Lake of the Woods, which is where I've been fishing, the majority of the time, because Lake of the Woods really doesn't have grass like this place has. Of course, there's no docks or anything like that, so I'm just trying to find structures to throw at. So for me, it's a whole different way of, that's a fish. Was a fish anyway. It was a little guy. It was a very little guy. Well, at least that's a sign, just when I was about to give up on this worm. But anyway, you can see we pulled back some grass, so essentially we just started throwing in the grass up close. And that's our first bite of the day. See another two little ones swimming along right here. But anyway, as I was saying, it's just hard to get adjusted to that when I've been fishing Lake of the Woods so much, because I'm even having to get used to what's a bite and what's not a bite, because that grass kind of feels like it sometimes when you pull into it. And so you have a lot of false hook sets. Anyway, we're gonna try to get one in the boat if we can. I don't really count that one, even though he actually did hit the boat. Fish, guys. That's a fish. Pretty decent size one too. Yes. I'm sitting here complaining about my battery's about to die. That's a good bass, number one. Wow, we hooked him on the outside. Check that out. Hook fell right out. That's a good, decent bass to start off with. Right there. I'm gonna weigh this guy. Yeah, but let's just get weighed up. He's about 2 pounds. I think close to 2 pounds maybe. We'll see real quick. Oh, it went between 115 and 2. It landed on 115. So about 2 pounds. It's 2-pounder. All right. Let's get him back on. Got him. Little guy. We got him. Nice fish. Try to get a little better lighting for you. There's bass number 2 in the boat. So I'm glad that we stuck with the worm. That was a good choice. It's paying off for us. We're at least getting some bites, and that's building some confidence. And so there's 2 lessons there. So one is be patient and decision making. So a lot of times people will sacrifice long-term gains for a short-term benefit in life instead of just being patient, staying the course. Now, this doesn't, apply one for one here in fishing, because, sometimes I'll say, hey, don't get stuck on one thing, you need to move forward. So it is somewhat situational. But if the data is telling you something and your instincts are telling you something, and those things, and you're praying about it, and hopefully you're seeking wise counsel, and you get the feeling of, man, I need to really stay the course in this marriage or this relationship or this job or this lure or this whatever it is, then you need to do that. And just be patient. Keep working at it, keep being diligent. Same thing we were doing, keep casting. And, hopefully you'll get to see whether or not, hey, this is a good lure to stay with or not. And time reveals all things. I'm a big believer in that. Time will reveal all things. So time is going to reveal if this lure is going to produce any more before we decide to switch up and do something else. So again, you just have to apply this where it fits in your life. And that's the whole goal of wisdom. Wisdom is knowing how and when to apply the knowledge that you have. So when do I need to switch up? When do I need to stay the course? And so, as you saw so far in this video, I thought I needed to switch up earlier because, it just wasn't happening. Tried a couple of other things. So again, it's not like I didn't switch up, but something said, hey, go back to this, especially for this area. And thankfully we got a 2-pounder out of it. So we're about to start on the second quarter here in just a second. I got about 3 more minutes. Still fishing with the worm, although I'm about to progress away from that. One of the things I did want to talk about from the last catch you just saw was, I was sitting here thinking just about decision making and how, fishing, like life, is full of a lot of decisions you got to make based on a lot of variables, and you really need wisdom. Like, wisdom is the ability to apply knowledge, to know when and where to apply knowledge in a situation. Because there's so many times like that where I stuck with the worm because, something told me, hey, go back to it. I switched up to 2 other lures, didn't get anything with them. And so I came back to something that got bit earlier, and thankfully, we got a couple of fish out of it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stay with this worm the rest of the day. Like, in fact, if once this first period ends, if I don't have any other fish, I'm going to switch up to the Kitech and start throwing that around. But just depending on where I am, I might come back to the worm again. So there's two kind of lessons there. One is sometimes it's necessary to move on. It's necessary to try something else. It's necessary to explore something else. And sometimes we get hung up too much in a relationship or in a job or in a place or in a business or whatever it might be, because for whatever reason we're tied to it, we're glued to it, we feel like this is where it's at, and we're not reading the signs of, hey, it's time to transition, or we're just comfortable. And sometimes because we're comfortable with it, we want to stay with it. Certainly staying with this worm isn't a bad thing. I'm sure it's going to catch one more fish if I stay out here long enough, but the goal is trying to maximize that time. Now, on the other hand, sometimes you might just need to stick with it. Like, hey, go back to the worm. You try some other things, go back to that worm, try it again. And now, hey, you're in a spot where it's going to produce. And again, it just depends on the nature of it. So my watch is going off, so that tells me that's the end of our first hour. Yep, 8:01. All right, so now we're going to go into our second hour. And right after this cast, I'm going to actually go back to the crankbait real quick, just because we're around some... Oh, wait. That feels like a heavy fish. My goodness, me sitting here talking. So, scratch everything I just said. Oh my goodness. It's a good guy. It's definitely 2 pounds for sure, I hope. Let's get the net. Oh, yeah, it's a good bass. It's a good bass. Come on, buddy. Stay home. Stay home. Don't do it to us. Don't do it to us. He's fighting good. Come on. You're here. You're here. You're under the boat now. Come on. Come out. Come out. Come out. Come out. Come out. Boom. Nice bass. Nice bass. Nice bass. This guy's definitely 2. We kind of got him on the outside of the mouth too, which is weird. Check that out. Now that is what I call a nice birthday bass. This is probably 3 pounds. Look at that beauty. Let's get a weight on him real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna say this thing is close to 3. If that's gotta be 3. That's gotta be 3 pounds on the money. Ooh, first reading says 211. Let me try this one more time. I feel like it's more than that, but maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while since we've been weighing stuff. Wow, it bounced between 211 and 212, but landed on 211. 211. But is that not a beauty of a fish right here, second period, beginning? So we'll talk about that lesson in just a minute, but check that beauty out. That's a beautiful fish. Let's get him back home. So, what was I saying about switching up? What I meant to say was stay with the worm. Now, in all seriousness, it's largely about, again, that wisdom, knowing what to do and when to apply the knowledge you have. So earlier we were talking about a pattern. What's the pattern? Well, seems like we are getting fish up closer to the bank. We are not off too deep, but we did have to back up just a little bit. I've also switched up and started going more parallel to the bank. So, for whatever reason, that was a fish too. I'm also finding that when I start talking, I get bites. So I think because the talking slows me down and I'm more focused on talking to you than actually, pulling this back. So I'm probably fishing too fast at this point as well. So all these things are kind of piecing that puzzle together. Now, you saw in real time, like, I was going to switch from the worm. That was going to be my last cast with the worm from the last bite that we got. but you know, we caught a bass off of it. So it's like they're biting it now. So now we don't have a reason to switch. We certainly will go through the rest of the second period fishing it. And you know, if we don't get anything, then we'll probably switch to something else. But we should be able to put hopefully 3 or 4 more fish off of this specific worm that we're throwing. So like you saw, we just got another bite that we lost. So we should get a bite right behind us here. So again, it's a lot more homes here. So I'm imagining this spot gets more traffic, but hopefully we'll get a bite out of it. And again, that'll be another indicator. If we get another bite, it'll indicate to us, Titus, keep doing what you're doing. So be on the lookout, whether it's, you know, your job, your fishing, or whatever a part of life. Look out for those indicators that's telling you, hey, it's time to switch, or hey, keep doing what you're doing. And it's just gonna take a little time. Be patient. So sometimes, you know, when people are working out, trying to lose weight or eating healthy, they feel like they're not seeing results, and sometimes they'll make a temporary decision that sabotages their long-term success. And that same thing happens, you know, in all aspects of life. Marriages, certainly it happens. Fishing, it even happens. And what you don't want to do is be a person who sabotages your own success. So that's a lesson. I don't know what lesson number I'm on, but don't sabotage your long-term success. Learn to delay gratification. That will be a huge benefit. Teach your kids to delay gratification. That will be a huge benefit to them. Come on. We did not have him pegged good. Did not have him pegged good. So one of the other things I do that you may have heard me say before is, if I'm in a good spot like I am right now, and I make a good cast and I get no bite, then that tells me we're definitely doing something wrong. Because I'm a firm believer that fish are everywhere. There's always fish. The question is, can we figure out how to get them? So I remember growing up many times, I would think to myself or say, man, there's just no fish here. Or, man, fish just aren't biting. And now I've fished long enough to realize that's never the case. And in fact, now I can see them sometimes. Like, I'll go through a spot, not get any bites, and then I'll see like 3 bass swim right by. So I don't know what lesson number we're on, but another lesson is you have to believe for whatever the outcome is you're looking for. So here in fishing, I'm always believing there's fish. Like that cast, I believe there's a fish in that shade. Whether I catch them or not, I believe they're there. And I believe at every cast that I am going to get a bite. Now, does it happen every time? No. But that belief prompts an action, and that action many times will allow the reality you want to come true. But you have to put that work in. You have to make a cast. You have to make a good cast. And you have to put all those other pieces in place that we talked about. You can't just say, oh, I believe, and never go fishing, or never get on the boat, or never go out to the bank or anything like that. So it's not just a blind belief of, hey, I just want to believe and think this is going to happen. Because I do think it is true that faith without works is dead. So our faith and our belief prompts us to act. And there is something you believe, and there is something you have faith in, and that moves your actions or inactions.